Three, two, one. We are live. We are live. What's good, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of the Prosper Performance Podcast. I'm one of the hosts, Jave. I'm here with my boy.
My name's Gabe Cardenas.
My bad, I just kind of threw you into that. But here, my boy Gabe, man. This is a very special EP. It's a very special EP because this is the first EP. So, we got together, had this mindset to start this, podcast, and just in the hopes to, bring value, give game, basically to inspire y'all to become the best version of yourselves as we on the journey to become the best version of ourselves. Yeah, we plan to do that through some meaningful conversations. So, yeah, Gabe, do you got anything you want to touch on just as far as like purposes, podcast, and how you feel about, your mission, what you want to do with it?
I mean, I think the biggest thing with this whole, and I guess the biggest thing for our own fuel and for the podcast is just giving game for people who are trying to find their lane, who are trying to find like what they really want to do in life, and kind of providing some type of guidance or mentorship like through this content, just to kind of help these types of people, like whether it's people who are questioning like where their mindset is or like how to become more motivated or how to maintain that motivation. Just different things that can help kind of put people towards the right direction and help just send them in that direction. So I think a lot of people that, especially that we know around us, they kind of get confused in their path and they kind of get stuck and they kind of become complacent without knowing any better. And I don't know. I feel like specifically you and me have kind of found a lane that we like and a lane that we have been able to pursue. And I think that this perspective of finally being able to like find that lane and find happiness and success in that lane has kind of helped given us just an outlet and like a certain perspective on like some type of way on how to do it, some type of correct way on how to do it. And that's just from our perspective. So really, I feel like the audience would just be just anyone who needs help, whether it's like mindset wise or anything of that sort. Because I know that at least when I started my business, I'm guessing when you did yours, like we really just kind of built from the ground, like not knowing any better, So
yeah, and I like what you said on just finding your lane and being happy within it. I think that it's important to have these conversations of just people that's in the lane of trying to pursue something, because that's really where, like you said, the happiness is. I feel like everybody looks for these milestones of what we're gonna reach, and that's like the end all be all, grass is green on this other side. But I think it's so important, and we both can agree that finding happiness within the lane as you're running a race is super important, because that's what it is. I know we both resonate with Nipsey heavy and just the whole marathon concept of like, we on this for the long haul. It's not about a destination. It's just about pushing yourself to be better than you was before, and be better than that last mile, be better than that last minute. In that case.
And I think it's important too about kind of what you touched on with just the marathon, like understanding that these types of goals and like this true happiness and this true feeling of success within like a business mindset isn't going to come immediately, and being okay and having that full understanding and that developed patience of understanding that you got to appreciate the small wins here and there, and that like Nipsey said in that interview, like one of the clips that has been posted around all over social media, like there's going to be a lot of emotions felt within these types of lanes. And so being able to understand that the emotions are going to come, and they're going to be all different types of shapes and sizes, from like self-doubt to a loss in confidence, a loss in motivation, all different types of things. And just having that understanding of like, you got to push through, and you got to just keep doing your things each day. And eventually that phase is going to wear off, and you're really going to find yourself at a destination that you kind of dreamed of,
100%.
So.
And, I like how you touched on, just people that's, in that mindset, ready to level up as far as, who I feel like will benefit from the podcast. But, even to get in a little bit more granular with it, I think that a lot of the stuff that we're going to be talking about is around the mindset, just health and, prosperity, and just building wealth and relationships and all these things, the ultimate accumulation of all those aspects. So I feel like, definitely people who are, maybe influencers or business people have businesses, entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, entertainers, anybody that, like you said, is still trying to find that lane or in their lane and trying to just, get the game as they're going along on their path.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
I feel like these type of conversations with, ourselves and also for the guests we bring on to help kind of, facilitate these stories. Because I feel like stories are super powerful and helping people in your own journey because it's relatable,
Yeah.
It's kind of,
Yeah.
Where's that relatabiliness? Yeah.
So we should hop into that then. That's a direct connect. Like, give us your background and kind of your story and like what led you up to here.
Definitely. So I would say just to save time, I don't want to go like, full thing, but I'll say my story really started was like maybe junior, senior year of high school. That's when I kind of started to, shift my mindset of just like, okay, really realizing it's kind of like that turn of events. I feel like a lot of people go through that when you're, delving into adult life, the real world, you start thinking about colleges and your future and where stuff is going. Like before then, it was all just, high school stuff, just next thrill, girls, parties, basketball, school, still trying to maintain that whole ecosystem of high school, which it really is. It's just like an environment. So, that took a path of its own of just figuring out my lane. Went to college, was in college for 3 years. I dropped out my junior year. College taught me a lot. I feel like it served its purpose. I don't feel like it was a waste of time. It just got to the point where I'm like, okay, I don't want to go more in debt for this because I kind of know my lane now. So college kind of helped me find my lane, realize that it was something not for me. I met a lot of great people, had a lot of great experiences, but it just taught me more about myself. And I think that's going to be a common theme in the podcast is this self-awareness and knowing yourself, knowing what you want and trying to separate that from the crowd.
Right.
So that was like kind of that period, just growing in myself and figuring out, okay, what do I actually want in life? Where am I headed? Does this align? Is this necessary on my path? Am I setting myself back by going in debt to get this degree or, whatever it may be? So that kind of stemmed to, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, been always selling stuff, whether it be shoes. My first business was selling mixtapes, like when I was like 7, 8, 9 years old. We got mutually connected through Nick, my cousin. So he'll tell you the days about we used to burn CDs and like sell those and stuff like that. That turned into shoes, reselling shoes, reselling clothes. I sold candy in middle school. So like I always been just selling business minded, so that led me into starting one of my first businesses in college, which was a Facebook ad agency. So initially I was helping people with Facebook ads and just marketing their business. And started off helping, my first client was a e-commerce store. So he was selling like sand art toys and it was fire. It was my first internet money. It was like a decent check. It was like 2,500. It was pretty dope. But that was my gratification, was in getting that 2,500. It wasn't in the gratification of the client. So we're gonna touch on that in more episodes, but basically that fell through because I didn't put the effort in afterwards. It was just like, okay, I did it. I got the money. It was all about me. It was all selfish. And then didn't really focus on getting results. Ran that for a few years, had a few more clients, e-commerce stores, gyms. I'm just helping them scale their business. Decent results, pretty middle of the ground, nothing exponential. Position strategic partnerships with people who are experts and stuff like that. And this whole time I'm just learning, just adding to my mind, and trying to figure out what I really wanted to do in life. So I think that kind of led me to this moment now where I have like a pretty good grasp on, what I feel like I'm here for. So I want to say big shout out to God. We don't want to forget him. That helped a lot, seeking God first through everything and always keeping the mindset of, okay, I'm just seeking God's wisdom. I'm not really seeking money. I just want wisdom, kind of like what Solomon did. That's really who I got it from. It's like he had everything, and all he did was ask for wisdom. So like that's all I've been. God just give me wisdom of what I'm supposed to do, and it's got me to that point now of just my purpose. I feel like is just wanting to be aligned with what I'm supposed to be doing. I think that's just doing what I love. So around that time, started college. I know I'm rambling, but we're gonna get to the whole story. Uh, Around that time when we started college, that's when I started hitting the gym. Fell in love with fitness. Fell in love with the discipline aspect of that. Um, it didn't start with me loving it. It started with me wanting to look better for girls. If we keeping it a stat, uh, then that turned more to just like a love of just bettering myself and what it did for my mind and also the body too. I'm not gonna cap, like, that's a plus as well. Made me more confident in myself, just the inner growth. You feel me?
Yeah.
So that's what primed me to start this fitness company, Prosper Performance, where it's not even just fitness; it's the health aspect, the kind of everything I've just been talking about. So physical health, mental health, and also spiritual health, and just a combination of all those, and what excelling or I don't like to say mastering because you never really gonna master it, but striving for excellence and all those could do for a person's life. So that's that aspect, and I never lost my entrepreneur or my business spirit or that. So also do sales on the side. So I have a sales agency where I help coaches, consultants, agency owners take their sales calls, and also building a team with that as well to help them take sales calls. So that's kind of how we're making money nowadays, and just staying within those lanes, scaling them to where I think they should be. Creating content, giving back, just documenting the process. I love the power of documentation. And like you said, just helping people on their journey with that. So that's kind of where we are right now, and it's led to this moment. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful for it all. Grateful for it all.
Yeah,
That
that's
was a
big.
lot.
It's good too that you notice, like, I don't think like the self-awareness part's key in like realizing the journey and like having an understanding for the journey and like why everything happened the way it did. Like that's because that's not something easy to grasp, especially with people who struggle within themselves with things that they don't want to deal with. I think that a big part of that is not being able to accept the past and like come to peace and come to balance with that and with those things that have happened. And once I think one of the things kind of you touched on is once you understand like that the things that you have failures with, or the things that don't go right for you, like that's really where you make your money. Like that's really where you grow as a person, because you really learn like how you're built and how hard you're built, and I would say like it's harder to stay at get to the top and stay there than it is to just get to the top, because I was reading a book by Deshaun Watson, and he was saying how it's easier to take a loss and like grow from that, because the loss is like the biggest way to show you like what you need to work on, like what you need to improve. Whereas like when you're winning consistently, it's easy to like glaze over the small losses within that, because you had achieved like the ultimate goal. So it's easy to slack and like get loose with it because you've become comfortable at the top,
And you're touching on something huge, and I think that a lot of people could get value from. A lot of people deal with, especially here in America, listening, because if you look at a lot of like success stories, a lot of people that quote unquote started from the bottom is the ones that make it, like have really rough backgrounds, like to where they were just so uncomfortable with their situation that it propelled them to do what they wanted to. Yeah. So I feel like a lot of people in America don't experience that uncomfortableness because everybody's living these middle class comfortable lives for the most part, food on their back, like everything is just handed to them. And I think I dealt with, and I think that was a big thing for me, was just like I didn't want for nothing growing up. Like it wasn't the best could possibly be. It wasn't an abundance of stuff, but if I wanted something, my mom was gonna make it happen. And she worked hard. She worked seven days a week, 12 hours a day, to make it happen for me. And also shout out to my dad, he helped out too. They were divorced, but still made it work for really feeling like I didn't want nothing. So that did two things for me. That kind of made me complacent and, not wanting to go to that next level because it was all cool. But it also, when I got on my own and they basically cut me off, it was just like, okay, it's your time now. Like you got to do it on your own. It gave me that hunger of just wanting everything I wanted, because I never wanted for nothing in my life. So it's like now I have to get what I want because I'm so used to always getting what I want. So it's just like either somebody's going to give it to me, which you come to realize on this journey, shit ain't going to be handed to you, or you're going to go get it yourself. And I just think that touched on what you were saying.
Yeah, that's deep. I think people needed to hear that too. Yeah, wow. Yeah. I think kind of just to touch on my stuff real quick, I feel like
yeah, for sure.
My journey kind of started really honestly too, like my junior year of high school, like around that time. I had dealt with some things that like had happened in my life, and I kind of like shut them down and like didn't want to like I really just internalized these things. And at the time it was cool, like and later it came on to hurt me, but really it started just like I just started finding a passion for like putting in work when people weren't watching. And honestly, like my first real love, I think, like sport wise, where I found like a true thing in myself was within just running track. Because I was like kind of confused growing up, like of what position I really like fit within football for a while. And my junior year of high school, like I'd gotten like 2 season-ending injuries, like back to back. They were both collarbone for my football season, so I was out then. And that was the year that I was really banking on, like, to have some success with and whatsoever. So I then went to the track, and like I had a lot of like anger and a lot of frustration like left to pour out. And so I really like had the best year I'd ever had. And I think I connected that with like the work that I had put in that year, you know, just because I had a lot of things I was dealing with, and I felt like that became my only outlet at the time. So then I had a solid year my senior year. I go to college, and my freshman year I ended up going to Arizona State, and like I didn't want to play anything. Like I felt burnt out at the time. I felt like I had lost my passion, whatever. So I took a full year off, and this at the time I felt like it was the right decision. And it really was a good decision for me because it gave me time to reflect and think. And by the end of my spring semester, of second semester, I was like, I wanted to come play again. So I came in contact with some college coaches and literally packed my shit up and left, and transferred to Colorado State. And it was like the things that I had pushed off and I had silenced when I was in high school came back to hit me like literally like a month into playing football there. And so I got hit with like a lot of depression, like a lot of anxiety, things that I had never really like ever dealt with in my life. And boom, it hits me when I'm living on my own. Like I'm in a completely new environment. I'm playing a new type of game that I'd never played before, because it was just so much different than high school. And so it really put me into a shell to the point where like I'm getting up every morning for workouts, and like I just don't like it came to the point where like it's like I didn't want to be alive at the time, you know? And like it sounds deep, but like it was like that, where like I was avoiding things at all costs because I just had so many things that I was dealing with. Like it came to the point, and this is crazy. Like to me, when I say this, I think this is crazy, but I was given a playbook. Like I'm talking a thick ass playbook, and I didn't open one page the entire time I was there. Like I didn't want to think about football. I didn't want to think about anything when I was like at my place or anywhere. Like when I was not in the facility, like I'm not giving any of my time to it. And when I think about it, like it's really crazy because I'm at practice with like some dudes who can play, bro. Like especially in my wide receiver room alone, like we had a solid receiving coach, like a solid group of guys, and these guys were all putting in work in on their own. Like, you know, they're still like motivated, they still feel like solid with it, and I'm like hanging on by a thread, you know. So it came to the point where like I met with our head coach in like January of 2019, and I sat down. I'm like, look, like coach, I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate all the things you've done, but like I need to get right first, like in my head, you know. And it was a tough decision because this was obviously like a dream for people, you know. And I was very, very like privileged, very blessed to be in that position. And I had to back out because it was coming to that point, bro, where like my own just well-being was being put at stake, you know, like just self-medicating any way I could, you know. And so I had a year after that, just for my senior year of college off, just doing school, kind of finding myself and trying to figure out what was going on, you know. And then quarantine happened. And during quarantine, like this is really, really where I like had to deal with all this shit. Like, because it comes to a point where like all the fun things you were doing at the time are all boring. You know, I'm reading books at this point. I'm just watching interviews on like people that I like look up to and like kind of just celebrity mentors that I kind of just peep their game from. And it just came to the point where like I faced everything that I like had been hiding and everything that I've been trying to downplay. And it was a toll at first, you know. And it really kind of led me, and eventually, like, I feel like this is God's work too, bro, but it funneled me into just this path of like I need to help set these, like, the kids up and the youth, the people who are below me up, so that they don't have to have similar experiences the way I did. And what I mean by that is, like, a lot of high schools and a lot of coaches in high school at these schools don't really prepare these kids correctly for the next level, because it's either they don't know what it's like or they've never been through that process themselves. So they lack in that category a lot. And they like it hurts because a lot of these coaches have players under their wings who do have talent for that next level, and it never goes through because, one, either they weren't motivated for their grades, two, they didn't have someone in their life like really letting them love the game, three, they just didn't know any better, the coaches didn't, so they really don't know the harm that they were causing or really anything of that sort. And so I wanted to help eliminate as much of that as I possibly could. So I started this business called Glove Work, literally during quarantine. Like, that's really when I had started it before, but I was half-assing it, because I was in school and like had things I had to do. So literally the day I graduated college in June of 2020, like that same day, I'm like, I'm dedicating my life to this shit. Like I shut the laptop, like I shut everything. And it was just a moment of silence for me. And I'm like, I'm going all in on this shit. Like, I'm going to make sure that this goes through, and literally from that point on, bro, like I really tried to hit the ground running. And my biggest thing is just helping give game to people who were like me at that moment. Like, because I can see myself in some of these kids and in the people that I interact with, like they don't know any better, and they're not having anyone like properly guide or mentor them,
Yeah.
And I really joined this thing. Like, it's crazy because I joined this, like, I don't even give a shit about the money. Like, yeah, I need to get paid. Like, I'm trying to make a living and be successful. But my biggest thing, dude, is like, I just want to touch people like in the right way, like mentally, just like by providing motivation, by providing certain guidance, certain mentorship, because I didn't have any of that at the time, and I needed it bad, and I just didn't know that, and I didn't know that until it was too late,
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, that's really my biggest thing. And so you and I, like, like, we've chopped it up a ton about this stuff, and we're really on the same wavelength, and just giving game to people who need it, and probably to people who don't even realize they need it, so that's really my biggest thing.
And yeah, dope story, bro. That's my first time hearing the full version. So dope story. I want to give you flowers on just one thing that I appreciate most about you is just like the commitment aspect and ready to hit the ground running, like with something. It's like once you were decided on glove work, you've been at it ever since, consistent, doing what you need to do, just hitting the ground running, and have that singularity of vision. I think vision is so important. So I just want to give you your flowers on just your commitment and just like, sticking with it and just getting straight to it. Because a lot of people commit to something. Because once you commit, it's really no going back. But
There's no plan B.
Fake commit. Yeah, a lot of people fake commit and then just give up. So yeah, flowers for that.
I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it.
So, and also, just one more thing is you touched on that transition from high school to college when you first went to Arizona State, and you said that you lost your passion. Where do you feel? Because I feel like that's such a pivotal moment in life, is switching from high school to college, because you're on your own and get to make your own decisions about what you want in life. Mm-hmm. So what do you feel like contributed to you losing your passion, or like feeling like you lost your passion?
This connects too with kind of my vision, is just having coaches who really like hurt my love for the game, like, and honestly, like, I can't even knock them for it. Like, they just didn't know any better, like my entire coaching staff probably had like a combined like 6 or 7 years of college experience in like 6 or 7 dudes, which is, it's just not okay. And so it wasn't completely their fault. Like, I was just in a different mindset at the time, and I felt burnt out. Like, I was dealing with a hamstring issue. Like, I had tendonitis in it during my track season my senior year, so like that turned me off. I just felt like in a confused place, and I honestly just needed that year off, because it really gave me time to just kind of sit down and be like, what the hell am I going to do? So I would say really just being around like toxicity within just coaches, and like, so that kind of connects to, is I don't want to ever have an influence. I want to make sure that I bring out the love for this game with everyone that I encounter, So I would say that would probably be it.
Got you. Yeah, because like I think that's so important, just the love and passion in itself. Like, you know, I've been back and forth on that. Like, do what you love and then the money it takes you and all these types of things. Um, before I give my perspective on that, what do you think about that? Like just passion, do what you love. Do you feel like that's the way, or like, should people try to eat at home first, like make sure everything's good first, or do you feel like just do what you love and everything else will fall in
I think that's situational, to be honest, because I feel like there's a lot of people who don't have time, don't have free time to do what they love. Like there's a lot of people providing for a lot more than just themselves, and they don't have that free time or that ability to just throw all their jobs or whatever on the ground just so they can do what they love. So it honestly, I think for a lot of people like who are in that position, it takes an extreme amount of dedication and motivation within that, because then it becomes a side hustle that you have to do at like 8 at night, 9 at night, 10 at night. So I was lucky enough, I was fortunate enough that I was able to, like, I was living at home, like I had food on the table. Like just fortunate, privileged enough that I could really do what I wanted. So I can't, that's the only thing I can speak of, just my perspective. But I do think if people are in a situation where like they have free time, they do have like the abilities to pursue that, then you do have to go with what you love, and don't think too hard about it, because if you don't, like, I cannot be unhappy in this life, like later on, like I promise myself that, because I see parents, like I see people who hate their lives, like they hate themselves. And like, I just swore to myself, bro, I would never do that. So I would personally, like, yeah, if you're able to, like, you got to go after what you love, because you don't want to like wake up when you're 70 or 80 and be like, damn, what did I do with my life? Like that haunts me.
yeah.
So
And I think we're living in such a paradigm shift of a economy to where it kind of enables that. Like I feel like just looking at the horizon for next 50 plus years, I feel like we're moving into this creator economy to where people have the opportunity to really make a business out of what they love. Um,
and
Gary Vee's been talking about this since like '08 of this like his book Crush It, and just like
Mhm.
monetizing your passions and stuff like that. So I feel like a lot of people can monetize their passions and turn it into a business. That comes with business savvy. That comes with financial literacy and understanding finances and money and how to multiply, how to invest, how to do different things like that. So that's
Mhm.
maybe not what you love to do on that side, but inherently the business I feel like should bring you some enjoyment of your passion. And like you said, just speaking from my perspective, because obviously I'm not rich and successful yet, so maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe I should just focus on money, but I'm just figuring it out as we go.
I think too, I don't know, it's a loaded question too, bro, because everyone always talks about, or everyone discusses like money and like what does money bring happiness? Does money not bring happiness? I would say like, and that's what you got to figure out for yourself, because everyone would have a different version and a different answer to that. I would personally say that money doesn't make, if you have money, it doesn't make you worry, and I wouldn't connect worry with being happy or not, because you can be not worried all you want, but like you still wouldn't be happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So I think to an extent, like chasing the money is important, because obviously you need the funding, you need things to get right. But I just don't think that that's the end all be all that people talk about all the time, you know?
yeah. And
So
what's your
it's
relationship with happy? Because like I've kind of changed my perspective on that. It's like I used to, oh, I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. I feel like happy is just like a false goal to chase. For happy is an emotion, comes and goes. It's fleeting. You're not gonna be happy all the time. But I
yeah.
think a better, or not even better, it's just what I'm trying to more so implement in my life is just like that concept of alignment or fulfillment of just like, okay, I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, whether it's hard or not. And that usually has to, I mean, I want to say has to contribute to a greater good for like the world to actually get that feeling. If you're doing stuff selfish, I can't really think of nobody that would actually be fulfilled by that. You're just doing
Yeah.
selfish stuff for yourself. Like I feel like it all has to be in service to others.
Right. Right. I think you had a good point about happiness. I think to add on to what you're saying about no one can be permanently happy all the time, like that's definitely true. I would say happiness can turn into more of an overall like theme of life. So it's like, yeah, we're all gonna have times where like shit sucks, you know, or like shit hurts, and everyone's gonna experience that no matter what career they're in or whatever lane they're in, if they love it or not. I think the overall view of happiness is like going through those ups and downs, and like obviously like going through those emotions and taking them, but then like eventually coming after that, understanding like, wow, I really am where I'm supposed to be. Or even just like small feelings. Like when I get done with a day of workouts with all my guys, like I come home, sometimes I'm just laying on the ground in my room, bro, like on a natural high for hours, just thinking and just like reminiscing on like what I did. And to me, like that shows me I'm happy, because like I can't sit in a desk for a day and come home and be like that. You know, I would come home and want to go immediately do something after that to make myself feel happy. You know what I mean? Whereas like I don't even like feel like I go out anymore, because I don't even crave that feeling of being happy anymore. Because I'm getting fulfilled by that tenfold, like literally just on Saturdays and Sundays when I'm doing my workouts. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's really made me start to chase new things. And to kind of add on to what this point we're making real quick, I just want to touch on this, is like the culture we have in our society of like self-medicating everything and like self-medicating the life, like people's lives. You know, like so many people, I'm sure you know people like this too, like who work the 9 to 5 Monday through Friday and literally spend Saturday and Sunday forgetting all their problems, you know, or Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. And like, no shame to that. Like I was once there too, so I can't knock it, but I'm like, there is another side to that wall, you know? And I just think that a lot of people have become scared to make a name for themselves, or scared to put themselves out there. Like that's one of the biggest things. And it's not easy. Like sometimes I have anxiety with it too. Like it's tough, because you really got to have the faith and the confidence in yourself to do that. But like once you're at that level, like you're locked in, you know. And once you keep the vision on like what your goal is and what your purpose is, like none of that shit matters. Like I used to care a lot about like, oh, like would I post this, would I post that, you know, like, I don't want to look like this. Now I'm like, I don't give a fuck, you can unfollow me if you want, you know what I mean? Because I know what I'm doing, and like I know my purpose, and I'm so at such peace with that I couldn't give a fuck less about like what these people have to say, with, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm locked in, and I feel like you're the same.
We're getting there. We getting there. It's progress. You know, like you said, it's an ever-going journey. Was there anything in specific that, I know you said locked into your purpose and just having that vision, was there anything more specific that you tactical that you use to kind of flip your mindset to get to that point? Because that's, like you said, so many people are struggling with that. Just the fear of what like other people think, and just like,
I think it's what we said in the very beginning, understanding the journey. Like I broke down my journey, like from early on to now. And just, I was writing shit down, like just everything. And I talked to my therapist about it, and I got therapy, which I'd highly, highly recommend. Because especially for males too, because I know that it's not fully accepted yet in our society. I was able to like really, really look at all these things in my life, and like it helps give more confidence and more of a boost, because I'm like, damn, like I've been through so many different types of things, and like it's only right that I have to do this now, you know. And I think understanding the journey instead of trying to forget it is like one of the biggest first steps, you know. And like stop trying to dodge and avoid the problems. Like it's gonna hurt for a while, for a bit, but like you got to come to peace in terms with it, and take that as a learning experience on how to shoot yourself back up. Because if not, like that shit will stay with you forever. And it will, and just talking like the general people, like it will affect your kids, it will affect your, you know what I mean? Because those behaviors and those types of like just personalities, like that shit will transfer if it doesn't get fixed, you know. So
like I think a big thing we're just touching on with this whole topic is um just the concept of like delayed gratification, and just you know, I feel like this generation, especially, like I'm gonna keep bringing up, in America, you know, it's a soft generation. We care about everything. It's just softer than generations of past. Like they'll laugh at stuff that we complain about now. And I feel like we need to be accountable. Yes, we need to take in consideration mental health and like actual mental health issues, but like recognize when you're just being soft. Like there's somebody on the other side of the world that has it 100 times harder. Like it's just like gratitude and perspective of just like the whole world. Like, oh, somebody didn't make your fucking Starbucks drink right today. Like now the whole world's about to blow up. Like,
Right.
no, it's just like that little thing. And I think it just staples into a big concept I try to live my life by is just, pleasure in the moment or pleasure later. Like the delayed gratification, instant gratification concept. It's just like you're gonna have that pleasure at some point, but the greater pleasure is always the one later. It's just like what you said, after a long day of training, you come home, you lay in the bed, and you just like there in bliss, like, man, I felt good. I gave back, I poured it all out today. Like, I get the same with working out. It's like you're never gonna regret a workout. In the moment, it might be trash, it might suck, it might be hard, it might be painful. But at the end, you're not gonna regret it, and the results last forever. So it feels good in the moment. The results are not gonna last. The results will last forever, regardless. But will it be a negative result in the long run or positive? And I think just looking back at actions from that level, and just having the, strength and just like mental toughness to go the opposite way of pleasure in the moment, knowing what it would do for the long run.
Right.
And a lot of that, like you said, is just gonna come down to toughness, like mental tough, like David Goggins talks about. It's just like you just gotta be tough mentally, because like you will give in if you're not. Like you're just and then complain. It's just like,
and I think that's important too, what you just touched on, to if you do pursue like lanes like this where you're trying to do your own thing, you have to come in contact, not literal contact with, but like give yourself and give your attention to successful people who have made it the right way and who like are actual genuine solid people, which is hard to do. That's why like I watch a lot of interviews, because obviously they know they're on camera, so they're probably sometimes trying to put on a face, but most of the people I try and watch and pay attention to, it seems like they're genuinely like really in it for the right reasons. And that's why I follow a lot of certain athletes or certain celebrities, and like obviously Nipsey Hussle, like everyone knows who that is in his entrepreneur stuff. Like he's probably one of the GOAT dudes to follow with entrepreneurship overall, because his words and like his game touches all different types of lanes. So like you can use it with business, with athletic stuff, like anything. He's very versatile, and that's why I feel like he's so popular and so loved, is because it's relatable for all different types of things. You know what I mean? And so I just think it's very important to like read books by people who have made it, pay attention to their words, and like we've talked about in public or in private, like with YouTube should not be free for how much game it gives. Like just with interviews alone, and that's not even scratching the surface of like the things that they got on YouTube. Like just the interviews alone, which I wouldn't even say is like 1% of YouTube, that alone like has helped change my life. And it sounds corny, and you can take it fanboyish, whatever you want, but like there's truth to that. Like, because once you have an understanding of like, oh, like this dude, he made it big, and like he's doing it, and he's feeling the exact same way I am right now. Like, dude, I can do this shit too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people put such an image on like, oh, that dude's famous. Like it's like there's a line between that. Like, bro, anyone can become famous. It's just like, who's willing to really stick it out there like that? And not a lot of people are. And that's why we always like people idolize and fanboy these people. It's because they don't give a fuck. They just do things, and they understand like they have tapped into like kind of what we're talking about. Like not caring about what anyone else is saying, just doing their thing and like finding their passion and their lane, and literally putting all chips in on that.
Yeah.
So
because everybody knows it inherently. Everybody has that sense in their heart. I feel like God doesn't pick favorites. Like it was like what started this whole like journey of just like self-discovery is like I saw a Will Smith YouTube videos, like The Secrets to Success. It was like 12 minutes long. It was like maybe 6 years ago, and that like changed my whole life. He's just like, God doesn't give these esoteric qualities to certain people in the world. That's exactly how he put it. And everybody has it in them. It's just who really wants it. And that's what it comes down to. Like, do you really want what you say you want? Because if you did, you would do anything to get it. And it would just be like it synonymous with your being. Like it's not a choice. Like it's not like, oh, I'm either going this, like the plan B thing. Like there is no plan B. It's just like,
Right.
this is what I'm doing. If it fails, I mean, if I don't die, I don't fail. Like, it's
Right.
just a
I like
commitment aspect.
Yeah.
Like,
I like that a lot.
yeah. And just like, I think just having the perspective to look at life like that is a superpower within itself, that a
Yes.
lot of people just don't look at life with that lens, because we do live in this softer culture that thinks that everything should be easy. Everything, we have our food given to us. We have our, everything's so easy that
Mm-hmm.
we take for granted something like YouTube and Google that's free on our phone.
We get
Nobody
lazy.
else had that. Yeah, it's a crazy time that we live in. All the
Yeah.
information in the world is in the palm of our hands. Man, that's just
That's
nuts.
crazy. Yeah. That's really crazy.
100%. Man, so we had like what? We about at 40 minutes. I know we was gonna try to make these not too long. This is the first EP. I think we gave some good gems in here, told our story, where we came from, and kind of direction we see it headed. I do have a segment I wanna add to the show. So this is probably gonna be your first time hearing it. So you can be the first participant. This is all subject to change. We on the journey with it. Stuff is always changing. But start. It's called 5 and 5. So essentially, we got 5 questions that you have to answer in 5 minutes or less. And yeah, 5 questions you have to answer in 5 minutes or less. All 5 questions have to be answered within 5 minutes. Take as much time as on each question. I'm gonna start a timer. I'll let you know when you got like 1 minute left. So yeah, you ready?
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Start this timer. See how this goes. First time live. Let's get it. So, Gabe, what do you feel like is most important out of health, wealth, or relationships, and why?
I would say the most important is health, because everything stems from that, and health has the most control over how the mind works and how the mind just thinks things through. Like there's a huge difference in like a month long of eating shitty versus a month long of like a total cleanse. The way you will think and the way you will move will change. So I think automatically that would help relationships and would help your wealth, because you would become more motivated, more cleared, and more just grounded. So I would say health. If you want me to just keep going through them?
I'm gonna do mine afterwards.
Oh, okay,
We're
yeah.
gonna go straight through yours. Yep.
Okay.
Damn, you
Joe,
looking at it. You're supposed to be surprised.
Oh, okay.
Okay. No, I'm gonna go straight through on yours, and we're gonna go straight through on mine.
Okay.
Sound good?
Okay.
All right. If you could talk to one person for an hour, who would it be and why, living or dead?
I don't want to go with an obvious answer here. I would say this dude is living. His name's Marquise Goodwin, and he plays, I think, for the Chicago Bears now. But he's an Olympian and an NFL wide receiver. Like he went to the Olympics in I think 2008. For the long jump, he ran and he played football at Texas. I think that his life is very well rounded. He's still running track literally currently, and he's doing both sports. And to do so professionally is unbelievable. And he has a solid family, solid relationship with God. He's a good man, like the way he carries himself and the way he handles people. Highly motivated. So I think that my mindset aligns with him a lot. And I'd love to just like pick his brain and kind of get game from him. So I think that'd probably be mine right now.
Okay. Shout out Marquise Goodwin.
Mm-hmm.
If you had one word to give the community on achieving success, what would it be?
Perseverance. I say perseverance is it, because it's easy like to hit an emotion. Like let's say you plan something out and you're going all in on it and you're excited. Then one thing happens, it's so easy to pack the tent up and like, you know what I mean, just fold. I think perseverance, and it gets harder than just that. Like you'll be months down or years down the line, something might happen. And I'm still prepared, like trying to prepare for that. I would say perseverance, like no matter what happens, you got to keep going through the hurdles.
Got you. If you had to say you were born with one superpower, what would it be?
That
you actually have in real life. Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Okay, honestly, you're gonna laugh at it. I would say being stubborn.
Okay.
I think that's my, and it's a positive and a negative. Like there's a lot of negative things that come from it, and I'm trying to work on that. But I would say stubborn because it has created the go-getter, I think, aspect of me. You know, like if I set my mind to something, like if I said it, like my mind like can't switch it off. You know, and, like I'm really stubborn like that, and it hurts, and sometimes like with relationships with my family, just they get annoyed with it, and I'm trying to work on that. But I think within a business perspective, like an athletic standpoint, like it's very nice because it just helped me get some of the goals that I've set for myself.
Got you. Okay, being stubborn. I love it. I love it. So we got a minute and 30 seconds left. So you can riff on this as long as you want. Last and final question. What does prosperity mean to you, my brother?
I would say longevity. I don't even know if that's just the word that comes to my mind because I don't want like a quick success. I don't want something that lasts a few years. Like I want to actually build something that like has an impact and continues to have an impact. So even when I'm in the ground, like 100 years from now, like it's still going. And like the ways that I'm trying to teach and the ways that I'm trying to inspire people have been passed down to the people below me so that there's like a certain culture and there's a certain tradition with that. You know, I don't want this to be like a one-hit wonder type business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you want it to live on and have
Continuous.
like it. Yeah.
Like
Legacy with kind of synonymous with that?
yeah, I would
Okay.
say to an extent. Like you look at Alabama, you think of football, and you can think of that, and it's been that way for years. You know, like I
Yeah.
feel like it's similar to that. And obviously, I'm not trying to compare anything to that, but I just know that they have like a even just like a mental click. Like when you hear even non-football fans, like they hear Alabama football and they're like, oh yeah, they're amazing. You know what I mean? It's that, but like within just my ability to help people and trying to influence people.
3, 2,
So that's all I got.
That's the 5 minutes, man. Appreciate that. That was that went good. That went good. I like that.
All right, you're up now. You guys hit that timer though.
I bet. Set it right now.
You want me to ask him, or you're just gonna fire through him?
No, you got.
Okay.
Timer start in 3, 2, 1.
All right. So what's the most important to you? Health, wealth, or relationships, and why?
I think I would have to agree with the health. I think I would have to agree with health, just because like you said, I think everything stems from within first. Anything that you want to materialize on the outside realm, I feel like it always gonna come from within, and that's all what health is. It's just like well-being of self. So like I feel like when you get your physical, your mental, and spiritual health all in alignment, you're good there. That's just gonna exude within your wealth and relationships and make those stronger. You're gonna seek better relationships. You're gonna seek better ways to make money. Everything. So I think everything starts with within. I think health is definitely probably most important for sure.
Perfect. If you could talk to one person for an hour, who would it be and why?
For those who know me, probably don't know the answer, but my boy Ye, man, my boy Kanye. I think the reason why I feel like he's just himself. Like he's always just himself and authentic. I think authenticity is huge for me. That's why I like to follow is people who are authentic to self, whether they quote unquote good person, whether they're quote unquote a bad person, whether they're quote unquote whatever. As long as you being true to self and I can feel that and you're not being fake, then like, that's somebody I could resonate with. And he's been great on a lot of different planes. Music, fashion. Now he's running for president, always believed in himself, know what was within. So I think Ye would, drop some bars for me for sure.
Yeah. I feel like he would be really real too.
Yeah.
Okay. One word for the key to success.
One word for the key to success, I would say commitment. I like how you're committed. I think that's huge. Once you commit to something, once you commit to the life you want to live, there's no going back. You're gonna do everything you can to get there. It doesn't have a commitment, doesn't have a timetable on it, doesn't have a ending date. It's just you're committed to that vision for yourself, and you're gonna persevere. You're gonna be consistent. If you're not starting off that way, you'll get that way eventually because you're just committed. There's no other option. So I think giving yourself another option commitment.
That's good. I like that. What do you think is your one superpower that you're born with?
One superpower, I would say curiosity. Curiosity. I'm super curious. Like I don't know where it came from. I've always been just curious about life, curious about everything ever since I can remember. Reading, just information. You know, they gave me the internet at the wrong time. I spent hours on there just learning stuff and just looking up stuff and just letting my curiosity lead me to whatever and just letting it go. And I think that's helped out, just figuring out myself. And you know, because you get curious enough, you're gonna figure out the answers you're looking for.
100%. Damn, that's deep. What does prosperity mean to you?
Kind of spoiled alert in the beginning, but I think prosperity is just alignment. Alignment with what you feel like God put you here for. And you know, I feel like we all have that compass inside of us, that will tell us that. You know, people say follow your heart. I feel like your heart will lead you to all truth. Steve Jobs has a fire at the end of commencement speech. Got like a minute left, so I'm gonna riff on this a little bit. But like at the end of his commencement speech, he's like, you know, follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know who you truly want to become. So I think that you know, just following seeking that alignment and always figuring out what you're supposed to be doing and feeling like you're in the right space is huge. Because you know, it could change. You know, I might not always pursue the things I'm pursuing now, but if I'm always in alignment, then I'll always be, you know, good and at peace with myself. And I think that just ties on to something else I want to touch on. I only got 40 seconds left. Is like, you know, I'm a spiritual person. Like I believe in God, but like I think a lot of people look for God as just like this external force and don't realize, like, you know, he breathed life inside of us, and you know, he's inside, and just like turning within is like the key to finding God in a lot of ways. So like, you know, if you're struggling to figure out what that is about yourself, you know, take some time, take those moments of solitude. Like you took a year off, you know, you took moments off of life to just like figure out what you really want. Like go inside, figure out what you really want, and then once you figure that out, it takes to cut off all the outside noise, because we got a lot of noise. It's over. But got a lot of noise, so it takes a lot to cut all that off. But I think if you can get in tune with that, go full force with it, blinders on, you'll be in a good place.
Love that.
You'll be aligned.
That tunnel vision.
Yeah,
sure. That's solid, bro. That's a good answer. So, what else? Anything else?
I think that
I feel like we got to end it on that, bro. That was fire.
Yeah, that was a good EP. I loved it. Yeah. So I think that concludes episode 1 of the Prosper Performance Podcast. That's the name for right now. It might switch up later. Like I said, everything's a journey, everything's changing, moving. But you know, we just gonna keep the purpose of you know, wanting to give value and wanting to help people. And you know, I think that'll lead us in all goodness and all success and all 100%. You know, the right things. So I think that's 100%. Anything you got to touch on?
No, I just want to appreciate anyone who's listening for this, like listening to this. I know you and me been kind of waiting for this to really spark up, and so I'm really glad that it did. And I thought that this was like literally the perfect way to do it. So I hope people leave this like feeling inspired and feeling like they have some type of like just bearings about where they are in their life, kind of, you know. I hope that it kind of imposed some self-reflection and maybe some times of thinking of like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Because sometimes people need to be hit in the face like that, and I feel like this is a good way to help bring them in like that.
And I think we could both agree, like we're not trying to impose our opinions on anybody else or like force them to think a certain way. I think we're just trying to force them to think and just think. Right. Like, it's cool.
Because we all have different lanes. So
yeah. 100%. I agree. Where can the people find you at? Social media? How can they get in touch with you in case they gotta ask you some questions? Want to get more tapped in?
Okay. So my basically for my business, the biggest thing that I use is Instagram.
We lost video.
Work. Huh?
We had lost video for a second.
Oh, so I was checking my username. So my ad name on Instagram for my company is Glovework Training. GLOVEWORK, and then training TRAINING. What training? TRAINING. Yeah. Sorry, it took me a moment. And then my normal Instagram is Gabe Cardenas 6. But mainly the big thing where I put game on, like I kind of show my love for my passion is really on my Instagram page. The Twitter has the same @too. So yeah, pretty nice and simple. What about you?
All right. Yeah, y'all can tap in with me. Personal IG, pretty much any personal social media, y'all can find me at Javian Hodges. So just my first and last name, JAVIAN HODGES. It's pretty much everywhere on everything. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. I'm trying to get more active on TikTok, whatever you want to follow me on. I'm probably most active on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter. Also, Prosper Performance is the brand. Yes, sir. Tap into that. So it's gonna be PRSPR dot PRFRMNCE. So kind of a weird spelling. Hopefully we can get some links for y'all in the descriptions wherever y'all watching this at, or y'all will see it somewhere. But that is where to tap in. Y'all need tap in to the brand. I'll tap into the movement. That's also where the podcast will be uploaded. Also, you can find it on any streaming podcast platform, Apple, Spotify, whatever it may be. Prosper Performance Podcast. That wraps it up for me. Any finals?
No, tap in and stay on our journey because we got a lot of things coming that are going to be sweet to listen to and to tap in with.
Yes, sir. So yeah, once again, we appreciate y'all for listening. Catch y'all in the next EP. Peace.
See you guys.